Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Renee here, and as you can see, we are doing a makeup tutorial. It kind of just dawned on me that I haven't done one in like 6 months, and I can guarantee that I have some different things and different ways of how I do my makeup now than I did 6 months ago. So if you want to see how I achieve this look, make sure you keep watching. All right, let's get straight into it. It might be a lengthy one, so I don't want to waste any time. So first things first, of course, skin prep is always tea. I've already prepped my skin. If you do want another video of my skin prep, it might have changed by now. Let me know in the comments. But let's get straight into the makeup. First things first, we are using the Danessa Myricks combo, the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm, and also the Water Powder Serum. You can see that I really use this stuff, and I absolutely love it because she's done. But this is literally the best thing for oily skin. I don't know what she does or what she did with this little serum powder primer, whatever, because it's like a balm, but some way somehow it mattifies my skin. I don't know what technology she came up with, because it doesn't even make sense, honestly. How does this like balm that kind of feels a little bit like grease mattify the skin? Tell me the technology, because I don't know. I don't get it. But we let that marinate into the skin. I'm going in with the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Water Powder Serum. It is literally a mouthful, but as you can see, she is also finished. I already purchased a new one of these because I have to have them on deck as soon as I see it just dwindling down. But she lives for another day. And I just push that into the skin as well. I don't know the technology of how this water and how this balm mattifies the skin. Couldn't tell you the actual science behind it. But I absolutely love how it makes my skin feel. I'm just cleaning off my eyebrows, and we're gonna start working on those, so we have something to do while the skin is still marinating for the primers. For eyebrow gel, we're taking the Anastasia Beverly Hill Brow Freeze Gel. It's probably one of my favorite brow products. And we're just running that through the brows, getting it really nice and coated. I feel like she's almost done. And I also love a fluffy brow, so we're just going to fluff that up and then kind of mold it into shape. I just use the back of another like fluffy brush, or the back of a brush, to really press that down so that it is flat onto the skin. That is just how I prefer my brows. I don't want them like messing up or fluffing up when I'm putting actual brow like product into it, like any brow powder or any brow pencil. I need it to be flat onto my skin. Much better. You guys are closer. And then of course we have to take the NARS Pot Concealer and carve out these brows. I'm just taking a flat brush and really coating it with the concealer and going right underneath the brow. To create a nice shape. This will be the last thing that we do with the brows until basically the end of the whole look. But I feel like it just gives me a nice base to work with while I do the rest of my face. Now we just buff that into the skin. Now back to the base. I use my Givenchy powder to really set down all of this primer that I have on, because I want all of this to stay. Again, I have really oily skin, so I kind of just set down any of that primer. We went and used powder. I do want to kind of soak this powder in. So I'm taking the Easy Bake setting spray by Huda Beauty, the blurring one. And I kind of just set all that powder in. I know it takes a minute before you can actually get in foundation, but it's all about the prep. You kind of need to prep the place before you actually go in. For my foundation concoction, I take the LYS foundation stick in the shade TN6. And this is probably like my only foundation stick that I really enjoy using. And I also kind of use her as a spot conceal. If there's anything that I need to cover up, I use this, but it just works so perfectly with my skin. And then I also take the Chanel foundation. I believe it's the Velvet one in the shade B70. And I use just a little bit of that as well mixed together. It just gives a beautiful, beautiful finish. That the foundation is on. Next is bronzer. I love to take two different bronzers. I first go in with the Wonder Stick by NYX. Absolutely love this. And this gives me just the ability of making the perfect placement. To blend all of this out, I take the Juvia's Place Pot contour bronzer, whatever this is, in the shade Caramel. I love how golden and bronzy this bronzer looks on me, so I just use that as the ability of blending it out. I don't need to. The Wonder Stick definitely blends out beautifully on its own, but I feel like it just adds a beautiful shade to it. It's like it gives me the warmth of a bronzer but the coolness of the contour, so that's why I like using them together. It's gorgeous. And for the forehead, I really take it into the hairline, but I also kind of brush it down a bit, just a little bit, not too far down into my forehead. For blush, it's never a good blush day unless you're using a Danessa Myricks blush. And so lately, I've been really indulging myself in the It Girl blush, but I'm also going to use Rose and Brunch today. I really want to mix these two. I'm going to start with Rose and Brunch and take her a bit higher, kind of more back into the hairline a bit. Just look at how gorgeous Danessa Myricks products are, and they lay so well together. And now I'm going to take It Girl, but very lightly. This one's very pigmented. And I'm kind of going to bring that more to the apples of the cheeks. Ooh. And then I will dust a little bit of that over the bronzer, not too much, just to add a little bit more color around the face. For concealer, I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Infallible Concealer. Absolutely love these concealers down, especially for me as an oily girl. I'm taking the shades 410 Almond and 385 Amber. I'm just going to take a little bit of this on the back of my hand. I usually just go straight in, but we're going to go on the back of the hand because I've been trying to use less product. Yeah, I guess. I'm going to use less product and really coat it on the brush and then tap it in so that it is in the space where I want it. Just so it's a little bit lighter and not as heavy. I actually don't think I'm going to use the other shade. I think I am pretty dark right now. So I'm actually going to just use this one shade and my powders will brighten me up. I think this shade is actually pretty light right now. Then I'm going to take the rest of what I have on my hand with this same flat brush, and I'm just going to use a tad bit and draw my beautiful line down my nose. I'm going to let that sit for just a little bit, not too long, just a little bit, because I do want to get the most coverage out of it. So once it sits, we're going to blend her out. All right, I feel like that's set down for a good little minute. So I'm taking another fluffy brush, a different brush from what I first used, but basically the same angle, and blend out those edges of the concealer, and then blend more in the center of where I actually placed the concealer. Just look at that forehead. I haven't even done much, but just look at the blend on the forehead. That's what we're looking for. Now is the most crucial time. Powders. Powders are what's going to make, break, or actually change the game of your makeup. So let's get into the powders. I start with powdering my under eyes because I crease really quickly. So I like the under eyes to get powdered down first. But I don't take just a loose powder. I like to go in with a pressed powder. This is the pressed powder, the Black Magnet Soft Focus Pressed Powder by Carson. And this is in the shade Light Beige. And I take my powder puff, swirl all into it, tap some excess off if needed, and go right. Everything is all blended. Make sure everything is all blended. And go right in. Like, just look how airbrushed and flawless that looks. Just seamless. I take the excess and also tap over everywhere that I put concealer, just so that we are fully blended together and we look cohesive. And then next I go in with my actual loose powder. This is the loose powder by Makeup by Mario in the shade Neutral Peach. And I like to coat the same puff, get her nice coated, tap the excess off of that, and go ahead and bake lightly on the face. I set also my smile lines because I've noticed that they have been coming through a lot more recently. I don't know who invited them to the party, but they've been coming out recently. I'll do a nice quick reverse contour. And I just let that sit for a bit while we work on these eyes. For eyes, I'm just using something very simple. I'm just using my Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette. And I absolutely love this palette for everything and anything. My lids are already kind of prepped with the bronzer. So I'm just taking a shade on a fluffy brush that also kind of mirrors my bronzer. And use that to really dust into the lid of, or into the crease and a little bit above on my eye. And then I'm going to take this dark brown, but a bit like orange and warm kind of color. It's like the third one in from the last line. I'm going to use that on a more flat and fluffy brush and use that right into the inner edge of my eye. You see that dimension? That dimension, exactly what I want. And then usually on the lid, you can take a nice little shimmery golden champagne kind of color. That's not really what I want to do today. I really want to use some of the whites and creams on the top. So I'm going to take a fluffier, but less fluffy than the first brush, because I don't want to like completely cut crease. I just kind of want it light and airy. I'm taking that nice light tan shade and mixing it with that peachy shade and dusting that right in the front on the lid and a little bit up into the front, really just to open the space in my eye. Let's take my eyeliner. I love this one. It's the Point Made eyeliner in black by One Size. And just take that and make a cute line across the lash line and a tiny wing. We're going with a tiny wing today. I feel like I said tiny wing and my wings came out anything but tiny. And then for my bottom lash line, I just take a brown liner. I don't really like doing black all the time, so I'll go with the brown and really just kind of put that right at the waterline. And then buff that out with a pencil brush with that same first shade that I said matched kind of like my bronzer. Just kind of run that along just to diffuse any lines. And then also connect it underneath that wing, just so that it all blends together. Just gonna add some lashes to all of this. This is the Luxe Faux Mink pre-glued lashes in the style Sapphire by Eylure. I absolutely love Eylure lashes and I feel like they just don't get enough love. All right, eyes are basically done. I just need to put mascara on the bottom lashes, but we'll do that after I finish the rest of my powders. Now we need to bronze back up this face since we went ahead and set it with all those peach powders. I'm taking the Juvia's Place Duo Bronzer in the shade Tan, and I kind of mix both of them. And I just lightly tap it right over where the bronzer was set. Nothing too crazy. Now for blush, I'm going with my Patrick Ta blushes. I absolutely love using these blushes. And I'm gonna go in with a pretty fluffy brush. First taking the blush, not too much. And I'm really keeping this on the further part back more to the hairline, because that one kind of matched the blush I did with Danessa Myricks. So we want that more to the hairline. But I love how fluffy this brush is because it just makes it so diffused. And now we're going in with She's That Girl, which is a lighter pink. And we're gonna more tap this one into place and more on the apples of the cheeks as well. Ooh. And I also will take the remainder of what's on there, dust it underneath the chin. I don't do it prior to because I feel like my concealer kind of takes away from it. So I do it after, and also just a little bit on the forehead just to give everything color together. Now before I set with any sprays, I do my eyebrows because sometimes I feel like when my eyebrows can get a little funky after I spray them or after I spray my face. So we're going in with the NYX Precision Brow Pencil in the shade Espresso. And I just line the bottom of my brows and then I fill them in with hair-like strokes. I have a very light hand when it comes to doing my eyebrows. And I keep most of the shade at the end or to the tail of the brow because that's where I want it the darkest and I want it the lightest at the front. So I more flick upwards when I get towards the front to give real hair-like strokes. And this is basically how my brow turns out. So it will go from this to this. We are all powdered and we're all set. I'm gonna take the Easy Bake spray again and spray that as my first set. Just to really lock in those powders. While that's getting itself together, I'm gonna take my Tarte mascara, the Tulip mascara in the black shade, and I'm gonna just do my bottom lashes. And now that that has kind of simmered in, I'm going to take my second set, which is the L'Oreal 3-Second Setting Mist. Gotta love me some of her. And I go in with my second set. While that's like setting down, I do go in with my powder puff and whatever is left on there, and I kind of just tap over my pores just because I don't want those to be as oily. Just feel refreshed again. Now, lips. There will never be a time that I do not go for like a nude lip or like a brown, pinky nude kind of lip. That is always my go-to. We're taking my Makeup Forever in the shade Limitless Brown, and we're gonna line her up, but we're also kind of gonna diffuse some of that line into the lip. I'm gonna go ahead and blend a lot of that in. Go in with Pink Sand by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is their this is their lip velvet lipsticks. I've been obsessed with these. And I really just tap that in. Let's blend those together. I'm gonna take my finger and continue blending. Like that. Like that. I really want the liner and the lips to be very blended together. Of course, leave it like this, which looks absolutely stunning, but I am always a gloss girly. If it's gloss, if it's lip oil, I want it on my lips. So we're gonna add some. We're gonna take my Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade Stone and then place this right on top of it. And this is the completed look. Probably like what I just love doing on my face, and I just haven't done it in a camera in a hot second. But yeah, this is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you guys take any tips or tricks or anything, if you guys use any of these products that I used in any of your videos, tag me and let me know. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Duh, like, what are we talking about? But anywho, this is the finished look, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.